So I really want to just give you a glimpse into what Rebirth actually is. You might seem to be over-exaggerated, but whenever I actually look at it, I really don't think it is. Rebirth is really a rebirth of my thinking and my worldview from this class. Just sitting in the beginning of class, it didn't really seem like my sort of class. I wasn't creative. I didn't think I was creative. But I also thought that creativity was just kind of like born within you. Like some people had it, some people didn't. So this class has really taught me that overall principle, that like creativity is a skill that you have to cultivate and that you have to practice. And that's seen in Rebirth. The View, which is where the main character lives. I'm actually from Longview, Texas, and so we call it The View sometimes, and I just thought it'd be kind of funny to put it in there. And but the orb that he gets, you probably recognize that as the scenery of the whole class. It has the pyramid with the orb inside that's fire and gives energy off. That's really imagination. And so I really wanted to incorporate that into the story, just because that's a huge part of the role in general, and it wanted to be a good part of my story. And so overall, as you see the main character move throughout the story, he remains unnamed for a reason. It's because, I mean, it's clearly my project, but he doesn't really need a name because his identity isn't really found yet. He doesn't have his creativity all locked in place. He doesn't really know exactly who he is. He thinks he does, but he doesn't know exactly who he is. And so the first thing that you see is going through the maze, which really was like the first week of class. I like pretty much stepped into a new atmosphere where I wasn't good at any of it. I had no clue how to do any of the projects. I didn't know where to start. I'm a science major. I'm used to writing technical reports. I'm used to looking through a microscope. I'm not used to singing a song to people about my life. It's just not me. But whenever I say that, I look at that now and be able to see like that might not have been me a couple months ago, but it's becoming a part of me right now. And so the first thing in the woods that you see are the 13 sages, and this is symbolism of the 13 live lectures we had, and 6 of them, which really impacted me, are definitely on my sheet that I have given you guys. But the one thing that really stood out to me in the live lectures was just how creativity is in our base. It's in our heart. It's the passion that drives us to do what we want to do. And I didn't really think imagination was something that I had to deal with because I was a science major. Everything was pretty much cut and dry. You tried it. If it didn't work, then you're done. You try something else. But that imagination really helped me see what it's going to be like moving forward in my major, having that atmosphere and that prior conception of imagination. And then it goes to the 4 dreams. And the 4 dreams are the online educational models. Believe it or not, I actually got a lot deeper takeaways from the online educational models, maybe because it was by myself and I could do everything without worrying about people judging me or something. But my major takeaway was the blue skies and blue oceans. In my DCJ, I spend a long time talking about that just because I loved this feeling of freedom and being able to express yourself in so many different ways. And so as that's played out in the book, you see the half of the ocean has sharks in it, half is completely open. And I chose to jump, not because it was just because of the ocean was open. It's because it was freedom. The other part, I could have walked down. What you don't know is I'm actually extremely scared of heights. So that was something that you wouldn't get in the book unless you actually knew that about me. And so that would have been a huge step for me. But as I'm going into my route of med school or maybe graduate school, there's so many people with my same major and my same life that I need to take that risk and take that leap and go all out, and so I can set myself apart. And clearly in the story, Lord Venegas, clearly Dr. Venegas, is really trying to like steal the creativity of everyone. And in class, he's definitely not like that. He's the opposite persona. But in this instance, Lord Venegas, or Lord V, is really acting as the world right now. Our world and our teachers in high school are suppressing that creativity in us because they needed us to write technical reports, they needed us to write book reports, and nothing's really supposed to be creative because that's not how the business world wants it. But really, whenever you get to college, that is what they want. They want something new, they want something exciting, they want something fresh. And so that's really what Lord V was about. He was the world now that's trying to suppress our urge to be creative. And so my whole journey and quest was to release that so that everyone can have that freedom and understand that we have creativity. You just have to work on it. It's not something that just comes to you all of a sudden because you have to practice it. It's just like any other skill. And but the story as a whole is really just my inner conflict throughout most of the school year, and it was a huge growing experience because I had to really get out of my comfort zone. And lastly, the subtitle of the story really captures the essence of the entire book in my experience. It's a story of realization. And I love the quote that's take away the mystery and unleash the magic, which is really the basis of the story as well. I love the fact that the mystery is, before I understood what imagination was and my creativity was, it was all mystery. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know what it was. But once I started to learn about it, you could pretty much unleash it, like what it says, and see the repercussions of doing that, which would be the magic portion of it, which is seen in the end of the story where everything goes all right and ends in a happy ending. And then, but lastly, about the future. I love talking about the future because my major is biochemistry and genetics, and I love the aspect of the singularity. I got to do a whole paper that in high school. I love that, just how deep it is in the moral aspect of it, in the science aspect of it, in the humanity aspect of it. It's so deep because you have to understand what actually is human and what can we do to humans before they no longer become human. So developing a definition of humanity is so key in this instance that it provides a subject that no one really knows too much about yet. It's all neuroscientists and genetics going through and trying to understand how can we make the body better without losing what makes us human. Is that a soul? Is that a gene? Is that a protein? What actually makes us human? And so that becomes a debate with religion versus science. But ultimately, it's going to happen. The singularity is near. It's so close to us. Next 50, 60 years tops, which is really incredible because the world's going to change. And in genetics, we're no longer going to be seeing what genes are coding for what proteins. It's going to see how can we integrate nanotechnology into genetics, and how can we make the person that we're engineering superhuman. And so that begs the question, is this right or is this wrong? But the moral debate is exciting, and the prospects of the singularity are wonderful. They can do so many good things for medicine, and they can go beyond what we can't even imagine right now. So thank you for listening to this explanation of my book. I really enjoyed the semester, and just thanks for letting me be able to realize and be able to self-introspect what I never knew was really there.